1. So I just got a new job back in October, working tech support on the graveyard shift. I work from 1 a.m. to 12 p.m. Friday through Mondays. Needless to say, adjusting my sleep schedule has been quite the task, but I have managed. On the days I don't work, I still follow my work schedule, waking up at midnight and staying up until at least 2 p.m. before falling asleep as to keep my schedule in line with my work schedule. I bought blackout curtains to help with this, as trying to sleep with the sun shining is not easy for me. I usually require complete darkness. I live alone. I started noticing weird things around my apartment when I would get home from work, or after waking up on my days off. Just little things at first. Lights being on that I swear I turned off. Doors being left open or closed. Just so everyone can get a bit of understanding about my apartment. I live on the second floor and my building is right behind the leasing office. The entrance to my apartment requires you to enter the building first, then there is a hallway, with 2 apartments on either side. Then you can enter the apartment. Each apartment has 2 deadlocks, one that you can unlock from outside and another that requires you to unlock from the inside. There is also a balcony which faces east, complete with a large sliding glass door and screen. I use it quite frequently, as I had potted plants out there, but have brought them inside due to the cold weather. I also have 2 cats, Luna and Eclipse, who until recently lived with me. I am moving soon and can't afford the pet deposit, so my parents offered to let them stay at their place for the time being. Eclipse is Luna's daughter and only 6 months old, so she follows her mom around all the time. I usually find them cuddled up together on my chair or bed, and recently they trapped themselves in the bathroom. Now that they're not here, it had gotten harder to pass off these weird occurrences as my cats. Doors are still being left open and closed. Food has been disappearing from my fridge. At first I passed this off as just me being my usual self, and just not remembering that I ate something when I was half asleep or bored. Recently my boss gave me permission to work from home, as this shift is brand new, as the company is moving to 24/7 support, and the building owner refuses to heat my floor for my shift for only 2 people. So I've been doing that for the past couple weeks. And last week I noticed the metal rod that acts as a secondary lock on the balcony door wasn't engaged, so I put it back. I didn't think much of it at the time as my computer faces my balcony door. I like to people watch and watch the sunrise. Sue me. And I sometimes fidget with it, with my feet while playing video games. On the 11th of December, my credit card information was stolen and my account was charged upwards of $3,000. I was in the office that day as a favor to my coworker, who was really creeped out being in the office alone in the middle of the night. The charge was made at 11:40 a.m., just a few moments before I'd gotten off work. And I had the card on me still. This is relevant, I promise. I was restless and didn't sleep well. I wake up at midnight per usual on Monday morning and get my setup ready to take calls. Now, almost no calls come in on the weekends, so I'm usually screwing around on Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, and Netflix. Around 3 a.m., I was catching up on the 100 when someone unlocked my fucking door. I don't mean pick the lock, I mean they used the key. Thank God the secondary deadbolt was engaged, but the person jiggled the door to try and get it open. I ran and grabbed my gun, looked out the peephole, but saw nothing. I opened the door with the intent to shoot someone, but the person was already gone. Before you ask, yes, I called the cops. No, they didn't find anything. There are no cameras in the hallways of the building, or outside them for that matter, and they told me that there wasn't enough evidence for them to do anything about it, and left. I didn't sleep at all the next night, and decided to stay home on my days off to try and catch the person if they tried to come back. I also asked the leasing office if they handed out any extra keys to my apartment, and they said no, and informed them that I changed the locks on my door. I keep my Christmas tree and decorations in a closet that uses the same key as the deadbolt. As I'm pulling out the tree this evening, it's only a 5 feet tall fake tree that has all the lights attached to it already. I notice a bag back behind it, a small black duffel bag in it. I found a change of clothes, sunglasses, shoes, toiletries, and a notebook. What was in the notebook horrified me. There were notes about me, with hours and days I worked, notes about my cats, and updated notes that they were no longer there, and the date. My fucking credit card number. As I went further and further back in the notes, I found 2 words circled multiple times: balcony, door, which I assumed is how the person entered my apartment for the first time. This creep had been living in my apartment while I've been at work for the past month, and I didn't even know it. The worst part is that I was in my apartment at the same time as this guy at some point, and didn't even know it. That's the only way he would have gotten my credit card number, and my house key to make a copy somewhere. I've called the police and they're on their way over. I'm writing this as I'm waiting for them to show up. It's the only thing that's keeping me sane right now. Plus I think it will help me organize my thoughts so I can best explain to the officers what has happened. I'll keep you guys updated as things progress. Update. So I guess I should have noted, I used to have a roommate. He joined the Navy a few months back. The cops think the bag is his and was the one who tried to come in. Only problem with that is he's in Florida, going through basic training. So unless he lied about that in an attempt to not have to pay rent anymore, I doubt that is the case. They said they'll look into it and add it to my already open investigation on my credit card case. Update 2. So the police got back to me. They confirmed that it wasn't my roommate. They contacted his recruiter and he confirmed he's still at basic training. They also looked at the footage from the leasing office and nothing was found of anyone fleeing on foot. So we assume he went out back and fled towards the light rail station next to my complex. They're gonna get a hold of CDOT to pull the security footage from there. The only other thing they said was, "We will inform you if we find anything else." 2. I was 16 at the time and a total dork and dweeb. My friends would constantly make fun of me and would always tell me not to waste my money on conventions, but of course I didn't listen, though I really should have. It was my very first time going to a convention, and I hadn't had any friends at the time who were completely into anime or gaming and whatnot, so I just went alone, thinking I'd meet new people and it'd all be fine. Now, I'm absolutely not trying to bash the anime and game-loving community. However, we most likely all know that there are some very strange people that we encounter within it. And it just so happened that I met one very, very, very strange man that day. Because it was my first time and I had already spent quite the amount of money on the ticket, I wasn't really willing to pay too much money on cosplay. I reused an old Pikachu onesie that surprisingly got lots of attention. I say surprisingly because there were tons of cute girls in Pikachu costumes. I didn't understand why I had been stopped so much to get a picture taken. I remember I got stopped by a boy in an Ash costume, and he asked if he could take a picture with me, while his friends would be the ones taking the picture. I was having a little too much fun, I think, and had hopped on his back, though I didn't see anything wrong with that, and neither did the Ash cosplayer. However, one of his friends certainly did. He had been standing in the back and was kept to himself, and stared me down the entire time I had been taking a picture with the guy in the Ash costume. He looked angry for some reason, like I had betrayed him or something. I shook it off, however, since I had already known that lots of guys at the convention had been a bit weird, and would get upset easily. Maybe he was jealous. After the picture was taken, the guy in the costume, Ben, and his friends, except for the angry one, Andrew, had talked to me and asked me what I was doing and what I had seen. As it was my first time, I hadn't seen anything other than what artists had been selling and random things at random booths. I had absolutely no idea what I had been doing or where I was going, or where anything was, so they asked if I'd be okay with them showing me around. That seemed cool, so I said sure. even though Andrew had made me a little spooked. I brushed it off and followed them around, plus Andrew hadn't been doing anything wrong anyways. We went to a couple panels and got food, and had a really fun time, and I met others along the way, though I had stayed with the same group the whole time. Throughout the entire time, I kid you not, the entire time, Andrew only ever said 3 things other than small things he said to his friends on one side, and only 2 directly to me. I had tried to talk to him, since he had been creeping me out. I thought I'd get him out of his shell or something. I asked him what he liked, why he was there, and he went on about some random anime I had never heard of. I literally only said, "Oh, cool," and paused for a while, then opened his mouth again and said, "You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." This took me way by surprise. He hadn't said anything of that nature before, or really anything at all. So I felt a bit weird. I thanked him, and went back to Ben, feeling a bit awkward. I told Ben about our conversation, but he said it was nothing to worry about, that he was just a bit strange around girls is all. I again shook it off and went about my day. Though I didn't completely ignore Andrew, I definitely had my guard up. This dude was pretty creepy even though he hadn't done much. Just gave me a super weird vibe. It had gotten very late and almost everyone had left except for Ben's friends Matthew and Chris. I was supposed to get picked up at 8, but it was already 9:30, though I guess it's not too relevant. I ended up finding out my father had had a small stroke and was in the hospital. Luckily he was at a friend's house, so someone was there to care for him. But this meant I had to find another ride. I was panicking and extremely worried, but I was able to get one from my uncle, though he lived pretty far away. Because I was worried sick about my dad, I started worrying about everything. Matthew and Chris had left 10 minutes or so later, and I was all alone waiting to get picked up. I do deal with anxiety, and being alone in a situation like that absolutely does not help. I was waiting outside because I wanted to be ready the second my uncle got there. I sat down by a random tree, not caring about my surroundings or anything. I didn't realize till about 30 seconds later, after sitting, that I sat straight across from a guy in a Obito Uchiha cosplay, Naturo, mask and everything. I thought it was cool at first, till I realized they had been staring directly at me, or it seemed. It was dark so I couldn't completely tell, but they were definitely facing me. And the fact that I had initially been panicking made me take this not so well. I turned away from them and tried not to look. I would have moved, but I was too scared to. I thought that I'd offend them or make them angry if I did. So I stayed put for 5 minutes or so. I made a fake phone call in which I said out loud, "5 minutes, okay, cool," hoping they'd think I'd be leaving soon. I got up and pretended to be looking for my ride. I turned to see if he was still staring. Here's where I had a fucking heart attack. He was standing right behind me, pacing back and forth, still looking at me, 4 feet, tops, away from me. I tried not to panic, and thought that I had been getting way too worried over nothing. But just to make sure, I moved around a bit to see if he would follow, and of course he did. I was shaking at this point. I am terrified of being kidnapped or stalked. I mean truly terrified, constantly having nightmares and panic attacks because of it. And my hyped emotions were making me completely unstable. So maybe I panicked a bit more than I should have. I tried to call my uncle to see when he'd be there, but he didn't answer. Still panicking, I moved to a random group of people taking pictures. One guy who seemed to be in the group was just standing back and smiling while his friends took pictures. I went up to him and faced him to where I knew the creepy guy couldn't read my lips. I quietly told him that the guy had been staring and following, and I had no idea what to do. And I asked him if I could just wait around them for a while. And thankfully Jake, the random guy behind his group of friends, said he tried to help me. It was kind of funny, seeing his other friends and girlfriend stare at me in confusion. And his girlfriend looked quite angry, actually. Till of course Jake explained, and they all decided to help me as well. They did an absolutely amazing job at helping me calm down, and any time the creeper got close they'd make a sort of human shield. I cannot express how grateful for them I was. I was a random girl, way younger, terrified, and they were completely supportive and kind and so helpful. My uncle finally got there at 10:34. I kept checking my phone so I knew exactly when he picked me up, and I thanked them for helping me and told them my ride was there. The group. We said our goodbyes and I walked away. Then I heard my name get called. I turned around to see the girls and Jake running over and one of the other guys blocking the creep, who now had no mask on. And of course, it had to be fucking Andrew. I felt like crying at this point. He wasn't in cosplay at all before, and I had no idea it was him. And I thought he had left hours ago, but apparently didn't. I didn't know why he was there, and I was just overall confused and unbelievably scared. My heart was pounding, and the girl who ran after me whispered, "As soon as you walked away, he went running after you." My heart dropped, and I wanted to leave as fast as I could. I thanked him again, and quickly got in the car. My uncle asked if I was okay, and I said yes as I shook. I looked out the window as he drove away, and I watched Andrew stare at me as we passed him, while the two guys in the group had been standing in front of him, trying to talk to him or something. Although I may have panicked a bit more than I should have, I was extremely scared. Why was he still there? Why was he following me? And what was he going to do? Maybe I was just getting in way over my head, I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is Andrew, let's, please, never meet again. 3. A little background about myself. I'm a 19-year-old female. I stand around 5'2" and roughly at 115 pounds. I am a sophomore at university. Anyway, around midterms a chemistry teacher decided to have a midterm review. So there were people from different chemistry classes. The room got crowded. I was with my best friend, Leo. Leo and I noticed one of the students sitting next to me at a distance. I didn't care because the class was full anyways. During the review, I noticed that the guy was slowly scooting closer and closer to me. Note that I am a bit claustrophobic. Leo noticed this as well and told me to scoot closer to him, so I did. Thus the guy began staring at me. He is sitting next to me on the right side. The board is also on the right side, so if I look at the board, his face is there. I began getting creeped out. I made eye contact with him and I shit you not, he gave me the creepiest fucking smile I have ever seen. Finally, the midterm review was over. As I was getting my stuff ready to leave, the guy was standing at the door, staring at me with the same fucking smile. Leo notices and tells me to stay with him as we were leaving. The guy noticed that Leo was not leaving my side and left. Sadly, this wasn't my last encounter with this creep. 2 weeks later, my girl best friend, Ella, was walking with me. It was 8 at night and we just finished our late class. It was dark as fuck, but there were some lights. As we were walking, and guess who I see? The same fucking creep from the review. I look at Ella and tell her that is the same creepy ass from the review. She told me to just ignore it. I make eye contact with the guy. I swear I was shitting bricks at this point because he, again, gave me the same fucking smile. Ella saw it as well and told me to just keep walking, and he will just keep walking. I shit you not, this creep turns around and starts walking behind us. I kept looking back, but not looking back too obviously though. Ella and I are pretty much freaking the hell out because we were far away from where the cops usually stay. At this point, we are speed walking. We hear him whispering some stuff. I couldn't really pick up what he was saying. Thankfully, we see campus security. I look behind me and see that he was closer than ever. My friend Ella and I walk towards the security and pretend we are going to talk to him. The creep nopes the fuck out of there and walks away once he figures we are going to talk to the security. Ella and I sit down because we were shaking pretty badly. I have not seen Creepy Guy for the rest of the semester, and neither has Ella. And now that the new semester has started, Creepy Guy, let's not meet ever again. Update. I recently was talking to my friend Talene about the guy that followed Ella and I around campus. We have come to find that the guy followed us on campus a while back. His name is Christian. He followed my friend Talene on her first semester at university, the year after my friend and I were followed. She reported it to campus security and police. Christian got kicked out of campus a few days later. Hey everyone, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 161. Thank you very much to everyone who shared their stories with me in this video. And there was one that was initially going to be in the 30 stories video. I decided to swap it out for another, last minute. Can't remember what it was, there might have been similar stories. But I decided it would fit in quite nicely at the end of this video. So I apologize to that person for keeping you waiting for a while. And also, interestingly, story number 1, I don't know if you remember our old friend Deshantes. He was a Mormon missionary. He shared a lot of spooky paranormal stories with us. Yes, well, the ghosts might be leaving him alone, but creeps still abound, unfortunately. So he was very kind enough to let me know that story was up and give me permission to use it. I think I'm gonna leave it there for now. Much work ahead of me. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.